First story. OP meets her son for the first time in 5 years. This is a temporary account, and English is not my first language. I 35F gave birth to my son more than 17 years ago. His father, me X40M, was my then boyfriend, who, after a while, I realized, groomed me. I married him soon after our son was born and was truly in love with him. But it seemed he was only interested in having young girls. When our son was 11 and I was 29, my ex cheated on me with an 18-year-old girl. When I found out, I divorced him, and it was messy. My ex made more than me and barely spent time at home, and while I was the one who disciplined our son and was worried about him, his father was the cool parent. He never made him do his homework, always let him eat whatever he wanted, always bought him gifs, and all that. Because of it, my son was closer to his father than to me. When the time came for us to decide custody, my son said he wanted to live full-time with his father. It hurt, but I respected it. I told my son that if he ever changed his mind, my door would always be open for him. During the first year, I called him and tried to spend time with him, but he never seemed into it. After a year, he stopped picking up my phone calls, moved to another home, and changed his phone number. My former in-laws 62M, 62F were my rock in all this. They supported me emotionally and would give me updates on my son's life. They tried many times to convince my son to talk to me without any success. Around 3 years ago, I met my now husband 36. We married 5 years ago after we found out we were pregnant. My in-laws were invited, and I cried during my wedding because I missed my son and I wanted him there. My Phil was my shoulder to cry on, and he told me that sooner or later my son would realize how badly his father treated me and would try to reconcile. I went on and gave birth to my beautiful twin daughters 2F. Not going to lie, I also cried when they were born. Part of it was out of joy, and the other was out of sadness because my boy wasn't with me. Not a day goes by in which I don't think about him. I miss him more than anything. I have a few pictures of us in my new home, and sometimes I still cry thinking about him. I know what's going on in his life based on what his grandparents tell me, but I still miss him deeply. Yesterday, my Mill called me. We are having our normal conversation, and then she tells me that my son was living with them because he and his dad had fought. My Mill then tells me that my son wanted to see me, and based on what she says, my son misses me. I asked her to give me some time. We ended our conversation, and then I started crying again. I want to meet my son, to hold him, to fall for him, to tell him how much I love him and how much I miss him. But I am also afraid. I am afraid he gets mad at me for moving on. I don't want him to think I have replaced him with my daughters. Then I started thinking, why didn't I try harder? Why did I give up so easily? I really don't know what I should do. Relevant comments from OP. And if he's asking to see you now, he's loved and missed you too. I know that, but part of me feels guilty. I feel as if I should have asked his grandparents for his number and tried harder. You also owe your former in-laws a world of gratitude. I know it. Ever since I have met them, they have never been anything but kind to me. They treat me as their daughter, and they are truly like parents to me. Another from OP. I would move heaven and earth for a mom as caring and sweet as you are. Thank you so much for your words. They truly made my day. Just go to him and be the wonderful mom you are. I'm going to do that. Update. I called in my laws so I could know why my son fought with his dad and what he knew. My in-laws told me that we, my son and me, should talk about it why my son and my ex fought, and that they didn't say anything to my son because they believed it wasn't their place to. 2 days ago, when I visited my in-laws, they received me at their door and told me my son was in the living room. They left the house so that I and my son could have some time alone. When I got to the living room, I saw my son for the first time in 5 years. He had grown up so much. I was barely able to hold myself. I said hi and asked him how he was. He was looking down. He said he was sorry for everything, for abandoning me and for not being in my life. He told me he would understand if I hated him. As soon as he said it, I just started crying and hugged him as tight as I could. I told him I never hated him, that I could never hate him, that he was my precious baby boy, and that I have been missing him more than anything. We were crying pretty hard. After a while, I broke off the hug. I was playing with my son's hair, and I was looking at him. He was still looking down. I told him he didn't have to be ashamed. I looked up at me. I was still crying, but I started smiling. I told my son how beautiful he was. Then I became a little more emotional again and told him he had grown so much. He started crying more and kept saying, "I'm sorry." I buried his head on my chest and told him to cry all he needed because I was there for him. After a while, he was calmer. I asked him why he fought with his dad. He said his father manipulated him. His father made him believe I was awful and that I hated him. He and his dad fought because he wanted to meet me, and his dad got mad. They fought about it. And my son is now living with his grandparents because of it. My son asked me about my life. I told him I had gotten remarried to a good man and had 2 twin daughters. My son asked if he could see some pictures of them. I showed him some pictures, and he started crying again and said he was sorry again. We spent the rest of the evening catching up, and my son asked me if I could sleep with him. I told him I would have to talk to my husband. I called my husband, and he said it was okay if I slept with my son, and that he was so happy for me. Me and my son slept in his room. It reminded me of when we slept together when he was a baby. After my son was already asleep, I started crying out of happiness. TLDR. I finally have my boy back. Relevant comments from OP. Don't you dare doubt my love for my son. Nothing has pained me as hard as not having a relationship with him. What else should I do? He didn't want to see me. He was 12. Any court would take his wishes into consideration. I find your love for him to have already been distanced and has limits. When I hugged, I cried, as I never did. He's my precious baby boy. I cried so many nights because I missed him. When my daughters were born, I cried so hard because I wanted him with me. I didn't choose my new family over him. Update 2. My son meets his sisters. So I 35F have a son 17M who I have not seen for 5 years. Recently, we reconnected. In those 5 years, I got remarried to my new husband 36M and had 2 daughters 2F. I was planning on introducing my daughters to their brother because I truly wanted them to have a relationship. Yesterday, my son and my daughter finally met. I took my girls to the park, and my son was already there. My daughters are somewhat shy, but after a while, they opened up to my son. I was truly happy to see all my babies getting along so well. When it came time to go home, my son hugged his sisters tight and kissed them on the forehead. I asked my daughters if they liked the brother, and they said they did. Earlier this morning, one of them asked me when they were going to see their brother again. I am so happy that my boy and my girl like each other so much. I've dreamt about it so much. I can't wait for Christmas to come so we can all spend it together. Update. Everything is going fine. It's been a while since I used this account, and I thought I should update you. My son still lives with his grandparents, but he comes to visit twice a week. My daughters love their brother, and I know he loves them as well. He has a way with my girls that I find amazing. He can calm them down easily and is more energetic than me and my husband, so he can play with them more. Overall, everything is going great. Update. They fell asleep in his arms. Yesterday, my son and my in-laws came to visit. My girls ran to their grandparents. My former in-laws are like parents to me, and I don't have a good relationship with my parents, but mostly to their brother. My son lifted them up and started kissing them. My son and in-laws spent the day with us. At around 19, I went to the living room. My son was sitting on the couch with his sister, sleeping in his arms. My son proceeded to gently kiss his sisters on the forehead. I started to tear up a bit. I went up to my son, and he asked me if I was all right, to which I replied that I was better than ever. It's such a joy to see all of my babies getting along so well. Second story. OP's boyfriend's mom is a bully, and she doesn't know how to tell her boyfriend. I think my original post was removed because I cannot find it. Throwaway because my boyfriend follows my regular account. Also, for clarity, I will call my boyfriend N. I 19F have been dating my boyfriend 19M for a year and a half. Things have been really good, and he is my best friend. I also get along really well with his family, as he does with mine. I go to a cosmetology school currently, and I hope to become a hairstylist in the future. I have done my family's hair as well as that of my boyfriend's family for free when I am free. For example, I did my boyfriend's little sister's hair for her junior prom, and have done his mom's hair twice for weddings. I do not charge them because I am not on the clock, and because I don't want to accept their money when I offered to help in the first place. On Saturday, I had a woman come into my school or salon and ask for me to do her hair. For some information, students at my school are allowed to do people's hair. People can come into the salon and get their hair done by students. The prices are a lot lower. Think instead of a $50 treatment, it would only be like $14, but obviously they are done by newer, less experienced stylists. We do get a lot of customers. Most of my friends come in, and sometimes even my boyfriend. So anyway, the lady comes in and asks for me. I wasn't working on anyone, so I gladly helped her out. We ended up doing a full scalp treatment, a cut and blowout, and styling. For salons in my area, it would be anywhere between $60 and $80. At the place I work, this was only $20. When she was all finished, I brought her to the front and gave her the total. She looked at me and said, "Aren't you N's girlfriend?" I didn't know who this woman was, but I said, "Oh yes, I am." She then said, "N's mom's name. Listen, you work here, and you don't charge family members. I didn't bring any money." Again, I have no idea who this woman is, and I have never said anything close to that. I told her that I am currently a student and do work here, but our school or company does charge. She was like, "No, I just spoke with her, and she says you do family and friends' hair for free." I told her that while I have done some family's hair as well as my boyfriend's family's hair for free, I have done it at their or my house when I am off the clock. No matter what I told her, she would not listen, and my teacher or salon owner had to come forward and help the lady. She basically told my manager that I said I had a family discount, and now I'm making her pay even though I told her she didn't have to. Thankfully, my manager heard our entire conversation before she came over and basically told me that's not true. The woman did have money and threw a $20 bill on the counter before she walked out. I apologized to my teacher, but she told me not to worry. About an hour later, my boyfriend's mom showed up. I was working the counter at this time, so I was free to talk to her. I was about to tell her about the woman from earlier, but she kind of started talking right away. She said not even a hi beforehand. My friend just told me what happened. I'm not sure what to tell her. I told her I wasn't sure what she meant and told her what happened. Apparently, she knew what happened, and everything that lady told me was true. To summarize, my boyfriend's mom was talking to her friend the lady about where to get their hair done. She told her friend about me and how I do hair at a salon for a cheap price. She then told her friend to tell me that she knows my boyfriend's family and that I wouldn't charge her. I told her that I have no control over prices and that I have never done work for free. She told me that I do her and her daughter's hair all the time for free, and that she assumed I'd be nice enough to lend a hand to other people they are close with. I told her I don't know why she would assume that, as this is my job and I'm still in school. I also told her that the times I've done her and her daughter's hair, I've done it at their houses when I wasn't currently at school. She ended the conversation by saying that I'm just a student, and she doesn't understand why I would still need to get paid when I still have a lot to work on. She said, "And says a lot of sweet things about you, and I was really looking forward to other people meeting you. I now have to go around telling my friends that you are actually sweet, and that we do actually like you. But it's fine, I guess I'll see you soon," and then she left. The entire time, she was very passive, aggressive, and very fake. I'm honestly at a loss for words right now. Throughout my entire time dating N, I have never once gotten the impression that she didn't like me, and she's never acted like this to me before. I'm supposed to have dinner with him and his family on Wednesday, but I'm not really sure I want to go anymore. I don't really want to see her, and I feel a bit awkward and uncomfortable. N has been at a tournament all weekend, so I haven't gotten the chance to tell him what happened. I don't know how to tell him or how he's going to react. I don't know how to go about this, or if I am overreacting. How do I bring it up to him? Relevant comments. You're not overreacting at all. Your reactions and feelings are completely valid. It was wrong of his mother to assume that you would do this random woman's hair for free. You literally do not know her, and not once did you say, "Hey, N's mom, if you or your friends want to swing by my school or my place of business, I'll do it for free." You never once said that. You always did it at their house, and she had to know that. She is obviously a very unaware person. I would absolutely tell your boyfriend about this. He has to have an idea of his mom being like this, and I'm sure he will definitely believe you. If he doesn't, bring the manager in on a conversation. She came to a business you work at and wanted you to give her friend a free haircut. If you had done that, there is every chance you would be fired. It was lucky that your manager heard the exchange. Tell your boyfriend what happened, and next time you see his mom, I will tell her that your manager was extremely unhappy at what happened, and if anyone else comes into the shop and tries that again, they will be banned from the store. But you should ask your manager what happens in situations like this, with the understanding that you will never give anyone a free haircut in the shop. A few hours later, OP posted a minor update. Minor update. My boyfriend sent me a text and asked if we could talk. He got home from his tournament and came over to my place. This morning, his mom sent him a text about the situation. They had a whole conversation where she told a very fabricated story, as many of you said about what happened. My boyfriend sent back a response along the lines of, "Why did you expect it to be free? ThrowRadragongal has never done that before." She blew up at this and sent him a bunch of texts saying that throughout our entire relationship, she hated me and did not want us together because I was tearing their family apart. My boyfriend was very upset when he showed me the messages and told me to not believe them. I told him about the post, and he read through it as well as all the comments. We are going to speak more about it later. He is taking a nap right now because he was playing all weekend. But he said he has been having a lot of trouble with his family and mom for a while. Things have been very rocky between them, and this was just the final straw. After he wakes up, we are going to talk about it. As for the party, we are still going to go. I did not mention it before, but this is like his family tradition party. Wednesday is the only time all of his extended family can meet at the same place. I have gotten really close with the other relatives, and I do not want his mom to ruin a potentially good time. I was going to upload the text message screenshots, but I don't know how to, so if someone does, they can let me know. As for now, my boyfriend and I are going to chill for the rest of the day. I might make an update after Wednesday, or if anything more happens. I have work tomorrow and am planning on speaking to my teacher. I'm not sure what to do or say on Wednesday, or if I should even bring it up. Update. Hello. I was planning on giving an update about what happened, but a lot has happened since my original post, so I haven't been able to get on here. It won't let me post on the relationship subreddit, and I'm not sure why, so I am posting to my profile. First off, thank you to everyone who commented with advice and support. My boyfriend and I read through every comment, and we appreciate you all. Another thing is that I spoke to my manager or teacher after what had happened and basically read my initial post. She was very understanding and told me that nothing that happened was my fault, and I have never given anyone the impression that I would do side work for free. She said she would keep an eye out for anyone who came in asking for me and would help out if I needed anything else. Before I got into this, I did ask my boyfriend if he was okay with me posting this, and he said he was. After my original post, I spoke to my boyfriend about what happened. He showed me the text between him and his mom and everything else that had happened. Things have been very tense between him and his family. His mom quit her job and decided she wanted to be a housewife. His family, however, does not make enough money for her to live out her housewife fantasies. They have been comfortable with the amount they have, but with one kid in college and another heading to college in 2 years, quitting your job and relying on a single income is not a smart move. My boyfriend has expressed this to his parents, and he continues to get 2 responses. His mom says that it's not his business. She gave up taking care of him and his sisters so many years ago, and she should be able to relax and do things she wants to do. His dad, although stressed about having to work more, says to leave his mom alone and just focus on school. This has been happening since September 2022, and my boyfriend has been dealing with all of this. He said that he didn't tell anyone because he was embarrassed by her behavior and the idea that, down the line, he might not be as financially stable as he was promised he would be. In the past few months, he has been staying at my place as well as his teammates' places more. I thought it was because of his season coming up and him wanting to spend more time with him. But he apparently isn't welcome at his home. Apparently, his mother said to him, "I don't need a hater like you to tell me how to live my life. If you're going to be a drag, you can leave." He only goes there to pick up his sister, drive her places, and drop her off at school. As for Wednesday, I decided to go. I know a lot of people had mixed feelings about whether I should go or not, but I explained later on that this dinner was kind of a family tradition where all extended family members came to one house and saw each other. I know that despite what was going on with his mom and dad, this meant a lot to my boyfriend, and I know how close he is to his aunts, uncles, and grandparents. He said that he wanted to just lay low during dinner and not contribute to anything his mom says or causes. He did say, though, that if she brings up what happened at the salon or tries to do anything about me, he will do something about it. The dinner was at his house. We went around saying hi to all of his extended family and just hanging out with his sister. During dinner, his mom started talking about doing things for the family and how she couldn't imagine someone in this family refusing to help another if they needed it. Her father, my boyfriend's grandpa, asked what she meant by that, and she looked at me and said, "Well, if you're looking to marry into a family, treating family members like regulars really lessens your chance of being accepted." I could not believe the audacity of this woman. I was reading through your comments and saw that a lot of you told me to not bring it up and to just take the higher road and not give in to her nagging. I was planning on ignoring the comment, but she was staring at me while she was saying it and didn't look away, so I just kind of smiled and said, "Oh, I'm not sure what you mean." During this, most, if not all, the extended family was now paying attention to this conversation and were looking at his mom for her response. She scoffed and said, "I know what it's like to work a job and still be kind and treat family with respect." My boyfriend looked at her and said very calmly, "What do you mean? You don't have a job, you quit." Apparently, no extended family, or even my boyfriend's younger sister, knew that his mom quit her job and doesn't work anymore. Apparently, when a family member calls her, She responds by saying that she's at work and she'll call them when she's done. My boyfriend's grandpa asked him what he meant, and his mom tried to cut him off. But my boyfriend basically explained what's been going on since September. The whole family started questioning his mom and asking why she would do that. She only repeated that she wants to have a life, and that she's allowed to do whatever she wants. My boyfriend's little sister was really upset because she has a dance coming up and was looking for a dress that was a little out of her price range. She doesn't have a job, but she told her parents that she was looking for one so she could pay for her own dress. Her mother assured her that she didn't have to get a job, and that her mom is working overtime so she can get the dress for her as a gift. His sister started crying and said that she could have been working for months had she known that her mom lied to her about getting that dress. My boyfriend and I left with his sister in the middle of the conversation because they were both getting very upset. As we were leaving, the whole family was still yelling at his mom about lying to the whole family and kicking her son out of his house. His sister and I stayed at my place for the weekend before she went back to her house. She is currently staying at her friend's house for a little bit because she doesn't want to go home to see her mom. Some of my boyfriend's aunts and uncles reached out to him and apologized for making him feel like he had to keep this secret. They said that if he needs anything in terms of college, food, or any upcoming games, they will cover it. His dad reached out to him last week and said that his mom is upset with him for calling her out at dinner. He said that while he doesn't think that what his son did was bad, he had to have known that this would have started up a whole thing, and it's better to just keep the peace. My boyfriend did not respond to him, and he says he probably won't for a long time. My boyfriend is doing much better and says that he feels like a weight has been lifted off of his chest now that he's finally spoken about it. We are having a lazy day right now, which reminded me that I forgot to update this post, so I'm doing so now. Again, thank you for all the support and all the good advice. I am really grateful. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got MRE in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.